Hello and welcome to Bakerstreet.coasters live, where today I'm going to speak about a very unspoken roller coaster which, hasn't been mentioned very much because, well, let's just say it's a roller coaster very much hidden in the woods. And if you are going to go down to the woods today, you better not go alone. Now, from that, you may have noticed that I'm about to speak about Th13teen, the roller coaster at the Alton Towers Resort in Staffordshire. Now, Alton Towers opened back in 1980, as we know, and has had multiple and multitudes of roller coasters, such as the Corkscrew, which was there from 1980 something to 2009 or something like that, and laid in the area of Corkscrew. It didn't have an area before. It then it got rethemed to Dark Forest, and it got removed to Corkscrew. And where Corkscrew was there, got replaced with this free-fall drop-down coaster. Now, this 13 really has a really awful aspect to it, shall I say. Firstly, yes, it has a theming to the woods. You've got Rita, which was rethemed to the area of the Dark Forest, because, who doesn't like Rita Escape? I mean, Rita's the worst ride ever. Not even joking, Rita is one of those rides which have to get rid of. Now, that whole area is really slow in operations, and the ride itself, 13, is also very slow in operations, but I should go into that later on. For now, let's just say 13 is quite a good roller coaster. In my honest opinion, for every other ride, it was one of my first roller coasters, second roller coaster I went on during, when I was very, very small, so it was Swimmer Wizard, and it was 13 that I went on, and ever since then, I've found that it's gone really, really awful over time, though. Only because when you get to the top of the wheeled lift hill, it now has brakes on it, which was never there at the start. So when you go up the wheeled lift hill and you go to the top, it's got brakes to slow down the ride. Now that never used to happen. It'd be much more intense than what it was before. So that was number one of why the ride's awful. Now another thing is that it's very, very slow until you get to at the end of the thing with the track switches, and then you go straight into the station. And once you go straight into the station, it's probably the most quickest thing ever. Like literally, it's like, and I'm like, well, that's pretty bland compared to what the coaster can produce and what it can outcome. Compared to real lift tours going up, and it's like, really, hello. I shall be right back. So 13 kind of keeps a place in my heart because it's one of the darkest and only secret weapons that I went to go on when I was younger. And it's a very good, unique roller coaster, very slow and very plain, and it's unique because it's only free-fall roller coaster in the UK, which I find really, really convincing, and it doesn't tell you that on the advertisement and stuff like that, so that's pretty cool to know. And the marketing campaign was quite good to it as well. I also love how 13 is plotted around the queue. The queue also has some really good theming around. Now I'm just going to bring up the statistics on this thing, because I don't know them all by heart. Now what I do know is there's an Intamin roller coaster. So that is a bonus, because I think it's an Intamin coaster. Yes, this is 13. Is it an Intamin coaster? Yes, it is. It is an Intamin coaster. It has a speed of 41.6 miles per hour, which is quite fairly slow compared to that of Rito, which is 61. Yet again, it is aimed at kids, lower ages, so it's 1.2 meters. Has a track length of 2,480 feet and 65.6 feet height. Now, compared to the operations, they are very, very slow too. So not even though the ride's slow, the operations are really slow. And because of this, it means bigger queues. It's probably one of the worst rides to have queues in. I have never waited in a queue over an hour and a half, only with 13. And 13 really has that awful downtime as well. The music's poundingly awful sometimes. It's always the same thing over and over again, and you get to hear it multiple times. It's not long enough compared to those of other parks. and they have keep the same music in for 13 and Rita. Right? There's no change there, so the whole area is just pounding into your ears. Unlike the Smiler and Oblivion, you've got Nemesis and Galactica. Even Nemesis of Terror has a different soundtrack. 13 and Rita have the same soundtrack. Even the area of Dark Forest has the same soundtrack, which really does put off the ride. It's like, oh great, then listen to this music like 18 million times. Now, the theming of the ride has some scaffolding around. It's got a tree, which, yet again, is really cool. It's an old crypt, as they call it. You drop down into this crypt, which is really, really good, and then you go out backwards. Now, that's really unexpected free fall, even though some people did describe this as timid. I describe it as, okay, it's plain, it's bare, but it's not the best. I'll be right back again, sorry. So like I just said, really play into it. Now, when you get into the station, of course, when you go up the stairs and you hang your bags in, you then have this electric kind of feel which you get from something like Voltron at Europa Park, because you know Europa Park opened Voltron quite a few weeks ago, I think it was last week, and you've got that aspect of a plasma ball in there, which no, a Tesla coil, sorry, which basically sends out a pulse of electric and it makes a noise every now and then, even though it takes like 1,000,000 volts of electric just to produce the volts, well, just to produce the light and sound it does. That is a lot and a lot of money for Alton Towers. 1,000,000 volts into that is huge amount. So that's quite cool, and I love that aspect of the theming. You know, it's very big of a jump scare. However, they have that electric theming, but they don't have anything else electric around the ride, so it kind of makes sense, but at the same time, you could add more gory effects into it. The queue line itself has an Alton Towers truck, which I think is really, really good. It's an Alton Towers van, which has the old logo on it. That's also very good. You've got different slabs, which say 1, 2, 3, and it counts down from 13 to 12 or something like that, or it counts up. I forgot. Even though some are missing, and not always the whole queue is open, which makes the ride even bare. Minimum, and it's like, oh, you see a big cube and then you look at the rest, it's not open. It's like it kind of puts you off a little bit. Now, I don't think they have a single rider queue. Please correct me if I am wrong, but I haven't been in it for ages, and this is why I'm saying that 13 for my last adventures at Alton Towers have been appalling, and every single time I've went in it, it's like downtime. The downtime's also shockingly awful. I know it's had some repairments to the wheel lift hill, where basically the wheeled lift hill had issues where if it rained it would slip back, so they've had like these anti-slip backs. Crazy question, but do you love theme parks? I am a theme park enthusiast, so yes, theme parks are my speciality. But yeah, having the cart go up and then get slipped back, it's very good that they put on something to the wheels, but at the same time they still didn't work, and the ride seems to close during the events of it raining, so you know that's pretty funny. Now, it's probably one of the worst rides to open in the morning too, so if you do want to go to Alton Towers, and if you are, never start at the back of the park. Multiple people say start at the back of the park. I always find going to Nemesis Reborn is probably one of the best places to go first, only because the downtime's the best. Downtime's the worst with Nemesis Reborn and Galactica, as the track is inverted, meaning the rain isn't going to affect it as much, and you haven't got a wheeled lift hill, so most profoundly compared to the durability of a Nemesis and 13, Nemesis is going to win overall. Now, here are some images of. Sorry, I haven't got any images of this ride, as it really is hard to get images of 13. So here's some images of the roller coaster database. Now, that's the crypt which I was on about earlier with the tree. Yeah, again, the tree looks really, really cool, but I think there could be some changing aspects to it. Probably some new colour, because it's a bit old now. Yeah, again, it's meant to be an old theme, but colour would be very, very good to the ride. You've got scaffolding over there. Now, I don't know if it's permanent scaffolding. I know, or is this meant to be like different scaffolding? Would you dream job to Mix A says, would your dream job to work at a theme park? Unfortunately not, because it kind of takes away the aspect of what I'm trying to achieve, if that makes sense. It's like if you worked at a theme park, they want you there all the time, and it would be a bit boring after a while, I think. But probably maybe later on. But yeah, we've got the real lift hill there, which is it's good. Even though we've got twin brakes, I think, up there, which I think is really, really bad because they never used to have them, and I used to love going down that drop, and it was intense. And then you've got new for 2010. You've got the vertical free fall drop there. Don't go alone if you go down to the woods today. Don't go alone. I mean, you've got the trumpets. Now I don't remember this theming because I wasn't there in 2010. I don't think. Even though I probably was. I can't lie. 13. This whole aspect there, like the guy's missing the head, which I think is really, really weird. But it sort of works, and I love how Rita comes along. Rita looks quite fresh there. You've got the lights. Now the lights also dim and flash. Every time it goes up the station, it's like, oh, it dims and flash. And when you do depart from the station from the car, it goes, do not, if you go down to the woods today, you better not go alone, or do not go alone, or something like that. Which again, really, really good. Now, another thing I do not like them doing is having a train for fast track. Now, I didn't know I did this last year, but they had a whole train for fast track, and then they had a train for the entrance people without fast track, and I'm there just like, well, that really is not the way to go. If you have some cars, because it's such short trains, and if you're only going to put on like 2 trains, clearly you want something. Why are you a theme park enthusiast? What sparked this interest? I have been going theme parks since I was like, I have photos of me when I was like 6, 5, and I thought, well, if I'm going to these places, and it might as well. I might as well make something of it because it's really good, and I've had a lot of experience in it, and I know how stuff works, and it's it's really cool to see the changes from past to here and here to past. But yeah, it's a really good interesting thing which you can follow along, and it's something, and it's not like, oh, you're going to have interest in history. It's more about how stuff changes over time, which is a little bit of history, but it's more of a case of it's always getting updated, and you'll never run out of ideas or stuff to say because it's always getting progressive, if that makes sense. Anyways, what I was saying about 13. So yes, having trains which are really, really small and having one that has fast track and one that isn't is really, really bad. Now, if they mixed and matched, so if you mixed and match, saying let's go, half of it is fast track and the other half is not, that would be amazing, because at the same time you're getting through the queue whilst you're having less people complain, because the queue is also moving at the exact same moment, which I think is really, really good. But they don't do that most of the time. If you have a really long queue for fast track, they don't do that. They just literally put a whole car on for fast track and whole car on for like normal people who are queuing, which brings a really big disadvantage to the ride. Now, the whole theming of the queue and the place was absolutely amazing. I absolutely love how it's inside the crypt and everything. I love the sound. I love how the lights flicker when the light goes off. You also have the Voltron thing. The queue around, you don't get to see this theming much around the ride, as this is literally behind, and it's not a really good coaster to have theming on. However, it is just woods, so if you do go down to the woods today, you better not go alone, of course. Now, there's not much, don't think there is much images to this ride. However, it's got no inversions, so that's something that could be changed. I mean, if there was going to be a new coaster, Rita will have to go first. I think you should go to Hello Kitty theme park in Japan. I'd love to hear you review on it. Okay, but I don't go abroad, unfortunately. But yes, well, don't go abroad, unfortunately, yet. I've got something planned, hopefully in the future. Definitely in the future. I started paying for it, so you know. Anyways, that is for future development. I'm actually injuries. I'm actually happy. Anyways, so the elements it has in it is a booster wheel lift hill. We've got 2 booster wheel lift hills, and we have a vertical drop tower. Now, this vertical drop tower goes in, and then you've got a sequel. Now, let's see if I can get a pre-show of this thing. And if you do not like pre-shows, then you can skip to whenever I don't have this pre-show one. Because you can't film on these rides unless you have permission. So, what has just happened? I don't know. Apparently, according to Google, I can't. Here you go. Here's some amazing theming. I mean, that's the plasma, that's the Tesla coil, which means it's 1,000,000 volts of electric there. This is a very unstable ride. As you can see, you didn't have those LSM brakes there. You got brakes there though. There you go, another wheel lift booster. Now this is very, very, very laggy, so I'm not sure. But there you go. Then we go into the 3 vertical drop down tower. Now here, and then it drops a little bit, and then you drop straight all the way down. And then you go backwards through the tunnel. Now I love that backwards scene, however, it's not how they make it out to be. Because when you go backwards, you normally see it be green and stuff, but the lights have kind of dimmed lately, or there's no lights at all in that backwards tunnel. There's normally green lights which are like theming to the colour. They don't have that anymore, which I think is really, really weird. Now they did that for Scarefest when they had the 13 people in the queue, and I thought that was really, really good. But they don't have that anymore, and I'm there just like, really? I mean, that was such a good element to the ride, and really good theming as well. It showed all the theming around the ride as you were going backwards. Now I also like that, but even if it isn't green, I also like it being backwards and it being pitch black, because it also shows how theory. It shows also the fear of what it's like to be in a backwards roller coaster. Now another key element which I do not like on this ride, I can tell you now what I do not like, is when you get out of the station. Well, when you get out of this place. What's this name? This is actually named Chapter 3. Oh, it's 13 now has chapters. When you get back out here, like you have some theming to look at. I mean, you get to see the tracks. You've got theming there and there. You see the track change, and then the worst thing about this element of theming is when you get to go back into the station. I mean, they've got 3 cars on there. They've clearly got an issue. You got Rita there, which goes past. I love Rita. It looked like they've got an issue on the ride. I'm not sure. Here we go. And then this is the quickest bit of the whole entire ride. It's super quick. Now over there, you'll see over there, if you can see there. Oh, you can't see that. That is the old corkscrew motor, which has been themed up very, very well, and I love that aspect to it, because, well, who doesn't like a history side of a roller coaster place? It's like, if you're going to put in something, then clearly you're not going to wake the motor if it's kind of themed to it, and they've kind of themed it up, so it's like it's hidden, but it's also very, very much themed to what it should be. Would you like to work with a graphic designer to create a roller coaster? I mean, I can't see why not. I mean, that would be quite cool. Even though I wouldn't like making a roller coaster, to be fair, I kind of stick to investigating them and reviewing them. That would be very ideal. I know people who like to be in theme parks. Even though people have told me to be in a theme park, I'm not quite sure yet. Anyways, so yes, 13, absolutely amazing coaster. Downtime is really bad. No, downtime is like really high. Sorry. You catch it on a good day, because if you don't, then you're going to have some issues on the ride. Of course, it is very smooth. I wouldn't say it's the worst ride. Slow operations. It's got some good theming. However, some theming is missing in the queue. And I'd just say it's a little bit slower than what it was. However, it is a good ride overall, and I wouldn't say anything bad. Well, I wouldn't say anything bad about the ride mechanism or anything like that. It's just that waiting time. If you do have 3 cars on, you'll have to wait there for quite a long time when you come out the tunnel. And even if you do see the track switch, it's like But anyways, I want to know what you guys think of 13. Because, you know, I think it's a good overall ride, just some little quirks. And I think some things just need to be changed, such as colouring, theming, and more aspects of the lighting. But I also like that backwards theme. I also like that backwards scene where, you know, it's green. However, Coaster Click says, when I went, it was closed due to not enough staff. That's also an issue. Sometimes I have loads of staff, and the other times I have low staff. Now you've got to catch Alton Towers on a good day, of course, when it does have a load of staff. But yeah, again, some people complain how they're dawdling around and stuff like that, and I'm there just like, yeah. But anyways, I am going to go now. Do you like 13? Comment down below. Please remember to subscribe. Smile always. Bye, guys.